Alright, before we even touch this movie, I need to say this up front. I'm sorry for the massive break. As of right now, it's been about 10 days since my last video, and honestly, I just needed to step away for a bit. Trying to juggle YouTube and personal life at the same time has been incredibly overwhelming lately. I love making content, I really do, but when everything piles up at once, it can get exhausting fast. So I took some time to focus on life and come back when I actually felt ready to talk about movies again. Now that I'm back, let's get into it because man, this one hurts to talk about. Going into Iron Man 2026, my expectations were pretty damn high. I've always been a fairly big Markiplier fan. I discovered this channel around 4 years ago through his Try Not to Laugh videos, and from there I really grew to respect how much effort and passion he puts into everything he does. When he announced Iron Man, a movie he's been working on for a very long time, I was genuinely excited. Not just because he was starring in it, but because he directed, wrote, produced, edited and played the lead role. That's insane. You can tell immediately that this is pure vision project. No studio meddling, no corporate nonsense. He didn't even work with an outside production company. The production company is literally Markiplier Studios, which I honestly love. I really admire how YouTubers are starting to branch out into filmmaking on their own terms like Trish Stockman did in 2025 with Shelby Oaks. It feels like a new era where creators are actually getting to tell the stories they want. On top of that, I went into Iron Man almost completely blind. I never played the game it's based on because I didn't want to spoil anything for myself. I barely knew what it was about. I just saw horror/thriller and Markiplier's name on the poster and thought, yeah, I'm in. I bought a ticket expecting the tense atmospheric descent into madness. What I got instead hurts to admit. And this generally pains me to say, but Iron Man is unbelievably, shockingly disappointing.
Yeah, I can't do this.
You can feel the passion in this movie. You can tell how much Mark cared, but passion alone does not save it from being, for me, 2 straight hours of misery. Not terrifying misery, not fascinating misery, just draining, monotonous, soul-sucking misery. Let's start with the positives because there are the things this movie does really well. The cinematography and camera work are excellent, like genuinely impressive. There are some really strong shots, clear framing choices, and moments where the camera movement adds to the claustrophobic feeling of being trapped. The acting for the most part is very good. Markiplier himself gives a solid performance, especially considering how restrained and internalized the role is. The production design is also strong. The submarine, the technology, the environments all feel believable and well thought out. Tonally, the movie nails this mysterious, dreamlike, almost surreal atmosphere that constantly makes you feel uneasy. And from the small bits I've seen of the Iron Man game through playthrough clips, the movie actually seems very faithful to the source material in terms of vibe and presentation. But the million-dollar question, was the movie good?
Absolutely fucking not.
First and foremost, Iron Man is not a game that needed to be a movie, at least not a 2-hour movie. The game is roughly 30 minutes long, and somehow this film stretches that experience into nearly 2 hours. That alone should have been a red flag. It honestly reminds me of the Hobbit trilogy situation. I like an unexpected journey, but as a whole trilogy, they patted the hair off something that didn't need it. That's exactly what happens here. So much unnecessary material is added, and none of it justifies the runtime. And speaking of runtime, what in the actual fuck is this runtime?
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Why is this movie 2 hours long? It's generally insane to me that video games movies are now longer than the games themselves. This should have been a 20 to 30 minute short film, maybe even an hour max. If it were shorter, tighter, and more focused, I think it could have worked very well. Instead, it becomes one of the most boring movies I've seen in a long time. I kept checking the time. I kept thinking I should have picked another movie. I literally sat there thinking I should have swapped this out for Send Help and watched this tomorrow instead. And boring your audience is one of the worst sins a movie can commit, especially a horror movie. To make matters worse, the film is absurdly dark, and I don't mean thematically, I mean visually. This is AVP Requiem levels of darkness. You can see buttons, screens, vague shapes, but when the movie should be scary, it's so poorly lit that you're straining your eyes instead of feeling tension. I don't know if this was a post-production choice or an international stylistic decision, but it actively hurts the experience. Horror relies on atmosphere and clarity, not pitch black nothingness. And finally, the biggest letdown of all, the monsters. Or rather, the lack of them. Everyone assumed there would be something, right? Some creature, some reveal, some payoff. No monsters, nothing. 2 hours of build-up with absolutely zero payoff in that department. I understand going for subtle horror, but at some point you need something to justify the tension. This movie just never does. So yeah, overall I was really disappointed by Iron Lung. On its own, it's not an offensively bad movie, it's competently made, well shot, and clearly filled with passion. But sitting through 2 hours of slow, joyless dread with almost no escalation was brutal. For me, it wasn't scary, it wasn't engaging, and it wasn't rewarding, it was just exhausting. Final grade, C-. But that's just my take. What did you guys think of Iron Lung? Did it work for you, or were you as disappointed as I was? I'm generally curious to hear other perspectives. Thanks for watching, thanks for sticking around after the break, and as always, have a nice day.